Welcome to Washington East to West Sports, episode 153. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty, Kevin Ardolph. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and blue sky at us. I'm Master B. Sean is Nancy Billy 22. Kevin is Emerald Bowler on X. Kevin is C to believe, SCA to believe. Sean is Nasty Billy 22. Subscribe to us on YouTube, like our videos, tell us what you think of the topics we talk about in the comments below. Gentlemen, Mariners. They're Marinering. I don't really know what else to say about it. Last time we were on this podcast, it wasn't going well, and it's about the same. Uh, so they are currently 10 and 14, and they are actively playing as we record this on a Tuesday evening. The Athletics. I'm not giving them a town. They don't get a town. Um, and they're up. The Athletics are up 2-1. So, Sean, how are you feeling since the last time we talked about where the Mariners are at?
I mean, it's largely the same, right? I mean, I think they're one game up from where they were at the lowest, but I mean, other than that, it's largely the same. I was. It just sucks that they always lose the first game of the series because then they got to win the next two. Um, they're still at the point where just winning the series is fine, but like, it, you got to start winning the series. Like again, they're down 2-1 and they lost the first game. You got to start doing the thing, and it really just comes down to the big three got to start playing like they can. Like Cal, Josh Naylor, and Julio. Julio's at least got an OPS over 600 now. Josh Naylor had to have a couple nice days to have an over 500, but it's just like, guys, what are we doing? And it's just the bottom of the order lefties are just carrying Luke Raley and Dominic Canzone. So the pitching staff, for the most part, has been the pitching staff, like what we thought. And everyone was like, "Oh, how's Hancock going to do?" And Hancock's probably the best starter of the five so far. So yeah, the one that hurt the most was Andres Munoz looking completely lost in the ninth inning against the Padres. You had to have that game. Honestly, you're the better team in the whole series, but you gave him the last two. You just gave it to him. Like you had it. And that's such a demoralizing loss. It clearly carried over to the next day too. Like you absolutely had that game, and you gave it to him on a platter. And so it wasn't even just like one or two. You gave up 4 runs and lost the game in that inning. Like it was just awful. It was just awful. So I think for the most part, the pitching, other than Munoz's huge blow up, has been good. It's just those bats got to heat up, and you're running out of time now. You're 25 games in the season. You got to start doing it. You just gotta. If you Cal want to be an MVP conversation, you can't have a 560 OPS 25 games this season. You can't do it. I know you have 3 home runs, but who cares? You just got to do better. So that's what we're waiting for the big three to heat up and do play like they can, and we're running out of time. I don't want to say an alarmist of like, oh, the season's over, because it's not yet. But probably to Kevin's point last time, like you're running out of time. Like the margin now is getting smaller and smaller to heat up. Like before, like they were struggling like with 3 weeks. That's one thing, but now you're like, okay, you're still kind of struggling. The margin for you to heat up is now getting smaller and smaller, and the hotter and hotter you have to get now to get out of it too. So we got to start going. We got to start cooking with gas here, fellas. So and they have been a little better this series in the Texas series, but like we got to keep it going. You've got some of these games, these 2-1 games, these one-loss games, you got to pick it up. And yesterday really hurt too. Like up 3-0, you made that pitcher work. So the bullpen guy, he had like 45 pitches in 2 innings, and then he ended up going like 6 1/3. Like because you were done after 2 innings. You did nothing else, and you had runners all over the base early, and you just wasted all of it. And that's like, and then Hancock gives up 3 solo home runs, which, yeah, to three guys who hit solo home runs. And honestly, if you told me that your starter gave 3 solo home runs to the Athletics, I'm like, yeah, you should be able to put up more than 3 runs against them. And the offense didn't do their part. That's what it came down to. And you just got to do more, guys. I feel like, I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like this offense has like a grip on the teams, and then they just let them go. I was talking to a buddy during the first Padres game. It was like, I think it was King started, or I can't remember who, but good pitcher, but like was clearly wild. And I said to her before the inning started, I go, he's so wild and he's not throwing anything. If the Mariners just didn't swing, it would be so good in the bullpen. And this is like the fourth inning. I'm like, so it's like we've had a track record. He's gone through the lineup once. I go, just don't swing, just don't swing. And each batter of that inning swung and got out on a ball. And I was like, and then two of the batters would have been on first if they just never swung. He threw four balls to them and they got themselves out. I go, and I'm like screaming in our text message. I'm like, he got out on an effing ball again. Stop! Like it's just they don't pattern recognize. Like the pitcher's wild. He's giving you free passes and you're getting yourself out. I get that Cal, Julio, and Josh, like we said, are struggling, but they're being so aggressive. It's hurting their ability to turn around. I'm like, just let the game come to you. And that's the Mariners in general. Like they're wanting to do all these things, hit the 3-run home run with no one on base. You can't do that. You got to just take your walk. You got to take your single. You got to move the runner along. Like I got really excited a couple days ago when Canzone just got a sacrifice fly. I was like, see, that's like we had a guy on third, less than 2 outs, and we got a runner in because the guy just made contact. He just the little things, and like we just weren't doing that. And so I'm hoping it turns around. But to reiterate again, it's got to start happening sooner rather than later. And I'm hoping it starts now. But I am frustrated with this offense.
Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, pretty much just not fully reiterate what Sean said, but yeah. The offense is letting the pitching down completely. It is what it is. The only other bad outing really, Luis Castillo kind of had a rough outing the last time around, though he's doing good so far. Only having 2 and 4.2. Um, but as I was kind of explaining, I'm so tired. Like I need to put this rhetoric to bed because I've been hearing it on podcasts. I've been hearing on like sports radio. I am so tired of people be like, oh, it's early, so it's okay. That's unacceptable. Period. I'm like, that's people saying that September games matter more than games now, which is not true. In actual fact, the games now actually technically, even though they're the same, if I'm going to give one or more than other, I'm going to give it actually more to the earlier games. Because like right now, we're 10 and 14. That means we have to win 4 straight just to get to 500. And then can we ease off? No, we have to still continue to win because you essentially want to be above the 500 margin. So you want to, as a team, start off hot and stay over that 500 margin. So the earlier games are actually more to where the time, if you come to December, if you have like, let's say you're 20 games over your 500 mark, you have leverage, you have leeway to have a slip up game every now and then versus being down 10. I also have to remind Mariners fans, like our season last year doesn't happen if we didn't have the batshit crazy, was it August, I think it was, where we
We
won
have
like
this
20.
team for the last 3 years has had like a crazy month and gone on like a 10+ winning
Yeah.
streak. It's
And like we
like,
cannot rely on that
yeah,
every fucking
yeah.
time. Like I'm
What if you
tired.
get unlucky in 2 of those games and you don't win 10
Yeah.
in a row?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, it was crazy good luck. Now I'm like, yes, skill was involved in it too, but
yeah, yeah.
also there was luck at the same time. I'm like, you can't have that. I'm like,
What
you
if
don't,
what if another Joe Adele robs 3 home runs again?
yeah.
But
You'd
like things
rather
like
be
that.
in the position of September where you're 10 to 15 games above 500 versus being 7 games below 500. And then you have to force yourself to win. And it just adds more stress to the team of like, we got to get hits. We got to get hits now. We got to pitch well. We got to do all of this. I'm like, so having this silly notion that like, oh, it's early type of deal. Like, no, you got to cut that shit out. Like these games are actually more important, if anything. And I'm not saying like other teams are going to win. Like I knew it was a tougher schedule. Like Cleveland's a solid team. Yankees are a good team. Yeah, Yankees have come down to earth, and you're kind of seeing struggles along. Like at least we're not the Astros. The Astros are going, and the Mets too.
I,
Mets fans want
I'll,
to kill themselves. Like,
I'll say this, Kevin. I think you're being too easy. The Mariners are one of the best teams in the American League. There's
well, I
no one that
agree.
you should be like, it's a tough schedule, but you're one of the best teams. Like, period. You
True.
shouldn't go into a series and be like, we should lose a series.
I think against the Yankees, I'm okay. Like, I think the
Yeah,
Yankees are a
that's the one.
better
That's the
team.
one team where I'm like, it's a 50-50 shot. Yeah, for sure.
Cleveland has enough on it to where I'd be somewhat okay, but every other team you should beat. It's yeah. I'm not saying you
I
have to
mean,
sweep all the
I'd
other
say
teams.
the Blue Jays are better than Cleveland. Like everyone in the
Yeah.
Central, you're better than. But like, I think
Well,
it's just you and the Yankees. Like you and the Yankees are the best 2 teams in the American League across the
yeah,
board. I think Cal just tied it up.
yeah.
Maybe no,
Looks
he
like it.
flipped.
Oh,
Oh, he did. Cal just tied it up 2-2.
Homer.
nice.
Homer, solo
Yeah.
home run.
Thank God.
There we go. But
Um,
anyways, yeah,
but
I agree
no,
with
like
I agree with your point, Kevin. Like I think you're being even too easy on them. Like when you're saying like they had a tough schedule, I think the Mariners with the schedule they've had should be a lot better. And their record does say they're unlucky at this point, which I get and I agree. But like still at the end of the day, what you're saying is like, yeah, but you got to win the games. It doesn't matter if you're getting unlucky. You've got it. You're playing well enough. Like I said, the Munoz game, you're playing well enough to win these games. You got to just do the thing. Like
You can sweep the Astros, but you can't like pull out a, you get swept by San Diego, which I don't know.
that was a
It's
painful series. That was a
yeah. And like
oh oh oh.
Texas giving you fits and like things along that line. I'm like, what are we doing? We're better than them. I'm like, let's calm this. And no, I'm not saying we have to sweep every team that we're better
Yeah
than, but
yeah.
you need to win the series. And you need to not get swept, period, by any team. You are good enough to where you shouldn't get swept by any team.
You
Unless we're playing like the Dodgers, then I that's a possibility.
even then, you are good enough to compete with anybody in a
Yes.
series because your pitching levels every playing field.
But if we were in a 3-game series against the Dodgers and we got swept, I wouldn't be like, what's going on? I'd be
I
like,
mean,
I'd be like, okay, well, yeah, it's the
but
Dodgers.
but
But
like last year, the Dodgers got swept by the Pirates. Like I mean, it's just
yeah,
like in a 3 game series, a small sample size, crazy things do happen. But like I get your point, like your sentiment. Like, but even then, I'm saying with the Dodgers, the Mariners have the arms to go against the Dodgers.
yes,
Like they can pitch with them. So like I don't think that we're should be a huge underdog against any team in baseball. And I feel like I just feel it's and Julio got a single. So they're like we just need this to happen. We just need these guys to get going because it's we've been in the past or like in the playoffs where you had that like black hole at the bottom of the lineup, and unfortunately this year the black hole is the middle of the lineup, and it's just like every rally you get going, like Canzone, Rayleigh, these things, and then it just dies because these three guys are just playing so bad. It's just like it's it's it is just painful to watch.
I I also have to rule out the notion too that I always hear like this um someone told me like, well, Julio always gets off to slow starts. I'm like, no. And I was like, I'm not saying that I'm not disagreeing with you about that. I'm like, but that doesn't give him permission to get to a slow start this season. Like he's getting paid big boy bucks. He's essentially paid to be a star and a starter. Like I don't care. Like I don't care what he's done in the past. He needs to be the Julio that we know he can be consistent. Like I don't want to be like, all right, everybody's good. Everybody has to play really hard except for Julio because we know Julio doesn't wake up until like the end of May. So Julio, if you suck, it's okay. We're okay with that, type of deal. That type of BS slander needs to just get the fuck out.
I don't know if people are okay with it, but I feel like that's just maybe who it is. Now we
Well,
can
using the excuse of like, well, Julio gets off to a slow start. That's essentially saying, well, I'm okay with it. Like it
yeah. Well,
sucks, but
I agree. You can be like, hey, Julio, we need more, but understanding who he is as a player is another thing. And but like you're right, you can be frustrated with Julio, and Julio's probably frustrated with himself too. And he even did the thing where he got a single the other day, and he's like, hallelujah, kind of thing, like just did something. And so it's just like I agree. I think maybe Julio needs to knock that off, where it's like, hey, you don't need to embrace the fact that you struggle in the season, and you need to do whatever you're doing. But like, it's also it'd be one thing if it was just Julio. I think it's amplified because it's like all the big guys all at once around each other, just playing awful, and it just makes everything more amplified. I think that's just what it is. Like every team could sustain a guy struggling really badly. It's just that we all of our big fellas are struggling, and then of course like you had your four guys, and JP was hurt at the beginning of the year. So all three of your guys are struggling, and JP unfortunately is replaced by Rivas, who I love Rivas as a utility guy, but as an everyday shortstop, he ain't it. I'm so sorry, but he's just not. He's not an everyday shortstop, and he's really not an everyday player. And then of course, right as JP Crawford comes back, Brendan Donovan gets hurt, so now he has to be your everyday third baseman. And I'm like, we've seen so too much already this year of Luis Rivas. Like, I just need Leo Rivas to like play less. I'm so sorry, but like, you're a great guy for a day off here and there, but you're starting so many games now that like it's too much. It's far too much. So yeah, it is frustrating, and I think it's just a compounding factor of everybody at the same time struggling, and it was also, I think, Kevin, to your point, the way they were struggling. It was one thing of like Julio, like man, because I remember Julio's first 2 years, he was hitting the ball really hard, it just wasn't landing, and so it's kind of like, okay, well, you're doing the right thing, you're just kind of getting unlucky, maybe some cold. But this year it just looked ugly. You know what I mean? Like some of these swings were ugly. Some of these at bats were ugly. And it was just like, I think because Cal and Josh were struggling as well. Julio was like, I got to heat up now. And he was pressing himself even more than he normally does. And it was not helping even more. So, um, but I, they just got to hit more. Come on, Randy. Randy's actually been really good this year. What do you think, Matthew?
Well, allow me to be the contrarian in this. I'm not worried at all. It's April. Like I get both of your guys' complaints, and I just said what Kevin
I,
hated. But
I don't know.
I like
I
it.
don't know if we're like worried about it, but like what I'm
They're
saying
two and a
is,
half games back to the division. There's 138
yeah,
games left.
no.
Like there's so much time. Like it's
No,
crazy
I
that
think
we're
I
worried
think the
about
best
it
part
or we're
about
freaking
this
out
is
about
the
it.
the AL West being awful is really like if the AL West was or the American League. I
Or
saw
the American League in general,
no,
frankly.
I saw a record that they are like already 20 something games under 500 against non-American League teams. Like the NL is dominating the AL. Like
They're
they
four
are
and a half games
crushing.
back of the Yankees for
That's what I'm
first in
saying.
the American League.
Every
Like
team
what are
is
we talking
struggling.
about? Like I get
Everything
Kevin's point and I get your point about being frustrated. I, there's so many games. Like I get you
but
don't want to dig yourself too big of a hole. I recognize that.
but to Kevin's point and to the point in general, Matthew is like you now have to pass a bunch more teams than you normally would have. And again, like if when the American League plays the American League more, one team is going to beat the other team. So yeah, you're only so many games back, but the teams are playing each other, so you will also be that. I'm not, and we aren't saying that like it's panic mode. I don't think we said panic, but
It
we are
kind
saying
of
you're
sounds like you're saying panic mode
The
though.
best,
no, you're. It's frustrating in the way they're losing. They're better than this. Is the point? Like the point is,
Fair.
Matthew. Like
Fair.
you could
Sure.
already basically, if the Mariners played like they could, the division would already be theirs. Like they could basically win the division already
the
because the
best
rest of the
I
American
mean,
League
way,
was
I
so
don't agree
bad.
with that either, but they
well,
could win, be in the head of the division certainly. But go ahead,
Matthew,
Kevin.
the best way to put it is that this is a having this mentality is this accepting the exact same mentality of Pete Carroll's mentality of you can win it in the fourth quarter. When we've seen last year, and then everybody agreed because everybody hated Seahawks football when Pete Carroll was coach. Not to say that we didn't like, but like the whole like, like we're biting our nails, like waiting for until the last second, like type of deal to barely win it by a field goal versus like having the mentality that you see now with McDonald of like, oh yeah, we can blow people out in the first quarter by like 30 points, and then we know the
Yeah, you
game's
don't have
over.
to make it nervous every year.
Yes,
Yeah,
I recognize that, and like
and that's
there's
essentially what we're doing when we say that the like saying it's early is like saying like we can win it in the first quarter now. Like we can be up like
I
10,
mean
15 games.
I don't know, but I mean agree
You
to
get what we're
disagree on that.
saying,
I
though, man.
think
I'm not saying
I
like
do. Yeah, yeah.
you can actually clinch in the first. No, but like you could get like an 8 game lead at this point because again the teams I'm worried about. I do not care about the Athletics. I'm so sorry, and the Angels. They're not going to do anything. The Astros are the ones you need to worry about, and they're so bad right now. You could get like a 9 game lead of the Astros super early, like that. You could
Yes.
really bury them.
You
And I'm
you
like,
could also get a 10K lead and then lose it like they did what a couple years
yes,
ago. So
yes.
like I mean
But that
it's
Astros team's
like
not back anymore. They're not that good, and the Mariners are better than the Mariners team. So what I'm saying is like Matthew, they're not playing up to the back of their jerseys. Is the problem? Like just play like you're supposed to play, and this is a lot smoother. And you're just unequivocally they are not playing as well as they could. Right? Like
yeah, I
you
think
agree
I
with
can
that
agree
part.
with that. Yeah, they're not
And
playing
that's
as
what
well
we're
as they
saying.
could.
It's like you're not playing that well, and the longer you go not playing very well, like Cal Raleigh again, MVP Cal Raleigh has a 500 OPS. We're now 25 games of the season. I go, Cal, you want to be even a good player, you've got to get hot for little bit. It's getting longer, and you got to get hotter for longer and longer and longer now to make up for all this time that you're struggling. And I'm not saying like it's the end of the world, but it's like we're getting to the point now where it's like, okay, we're 25 games of the season. This is not a small chunk anymore. We gotta start kind of. I need something to go. And then we were like, we had that sweep. We're like, we had a sweep when we lost. We're like, okay, we can do this. And then we get swept and then lose to Texas. We win 2 games in Texas. And then it's like you lose a game you should have had against the A's, and it's just like, okay, you gotta flip the switch now. Like just start flipping that switch because every
Yes.
time I feel like they've turned the switch, they're like, nah, let's turn it back off for a second. I'm like,
I feel
well,
like
come on.
everything you guys have said, I've heard on this show previously in a previous year. And
Yeah,
the results will end up where they are. Like
yeah.
I get you don't want to dig yourself a hole at this point, but
I do disagree
there
with
are
Kevin.
lots of games. There are
I get what
lots of games.
I
There's
get
so
what
many
Kevin's
games.
saying though. The wins in the beginning do mean that what has happened is I split the difference. So there are people who are like early in the year, like, man, that's a tough loss, but it's early in the year. How many times in the past 10 years did the Mariners miss the playoffs by 1 game? So they definitely do matter now.
Certainly.
So
All the
I don't
games
think they matter
matter,
more. I don't think they
but
matter more, but they mean the same. So like
they mean
losing
the
games you
same.
should win now is a big. It's not not a no deal. Like you had to lock that game down in San Diego. You really 4 runs
That
in
is
a
a game I was watching in my hotel room for a conference, and
and
that was brutal. That
and
was
well the
brutal.
way they did it too, because like he
Yeah.
clearly didn't have it. And Dan, you got to make him. You got to get somebody going fast earlier than that because he clearly doesn't have it. You got to bail your guy out more than anything. And so it's just like things like that. It's like we are shooting ourselves in the foot. I think more this year than we have in the past, and we need to just stop unloading the trigger into your foot.
Essentially, if they keep going at the rate that they're going, there will be a time and a point in the season where we shouldn't have to say this, but we're going to have to say this of that they're going to need to win out in order to have a chance. Like, and we kind of always have to say that every year.
Okay.
Minus, yeah,
Let me ask you this question. Do you think at this point the Mariners are still going to make the playoffs?
Yes.
Then what's the issue? Then what are we really talking about
I
here?
never said that they weren't going to make the playoffs. I'm saying that
Exactly. It's like
I'm
you
saying
guys are
the
like,
further you get, you got to start worrying more. Like you didn't ask like my meter, like you're saying like right now,
what's
where's
your
my meter
panic
at
on 1 to 10? 1 to 10.
well, the A's just took the lead. So like
Don't
I would
react to
say
that. What?
like 2.5, 3. I still think they're the best team in the AL West by a lot. So, but like I think it's a 3 now. But again, like another week goes by, it might be a 3.5. It might be a 4. Like it's before the season started, it was a 1. Now it's a 2.5 to a 3 because it's like we're now 25 games. Like I said, Matthew, it's not we're not a week. We're not 7 games in this. We're 25 games. That's a sixth of the way through the season. That's what like 3 weeks in the NFL season, 4 weeks in the NFL season. Like you're like okay, like that's where you're start. The Mariners start. The Seahawks start 0-3 next year. You're gonna be a little nervous.
Well, it's like what Kevin said last week, where like the sports media will like be like, oh, they can still come back. Like the Ravens, they were 1-3, and then they're like, oh, they can still make the playoffs. The teams to start one of the. It's like okay, like
And then they didn't.
there's that's
and then
that's
they did
sports
make the playoffs.
and that's sports media because they got to have something
Yeah,
to talk about.
that's
So
what sells, and you
it's
got to
yeah,
talk about something to
but
fill 6 hours.
it's
Yeah.
a thing of like there are so many games, and I've seen some of the games. They're frustrating, like Munoz losing it. I understand. And then what was the game where I think it was the first game in Texas where Donovan hit the opening home run, and then they did nothing, and they lost what, 2-1 or something like
Yeah.
that. Those are the 2 games that really stick out that I've watched. I've watched quite a few, but the hockey playoffs have taken my attention since Saturday. But um, like I think this team is pitching well. How many times have I heard on this show like the Mariners offense isn't pulling their weight like every season, I'm pretty sure. So it's like
seasons make nothing for this season.
I know it doesn't mean anything for the season, but I'm also like it's
That wasn't
April.
even close.
Like it's April. Like
Right.
I have had the same mentality every time on the show, and you
Who's
guys have
the
a bit of a different
who's the
mentality. I'm not really worried until August. Like we'll see where we're
But
at in August.
why we need to be more worried now is essentially because you, other than what you see now with Donovan, you want to be as ahead of the curve, as ahead of the 500 level as possible. Because I'm going to give you a scenario, Matt, of the what the fuck do you do? Let's say you're 20 games ahead, but then Cal gets hurt and has to go on the 15-day IL, and Julio gets hurt and has to go on the 15-day IL, and Randy Rosarina also gets hurt and has to go on the 15-day IL. But you have a 20-game cushion versus the same thing happens, but you're 10 back, and it's August.
I guess we'll deal with that when we come to it.
But that's the whole thing. Like
like,
you have your roster now, you have your full roster minus what happened with Donovan right now, but you still have a good impact roster to where like you need to take advantage of those times because yes, it's April, but that's the thing. As the season progresses, the higher percentage of likelihood of players getting hurt also entails. So
all right,
that's
Kevin,
why
what is your
earlier
panic meter? 1 to 10 right now.
right now it's a 5.
5. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's
I'm at a
it's
1.
it's
I'm at a 1.
honestly because like I
Well,
said,
Matthew, you're at a 1 until August, and then you actually look at your panic meter, so that doesn't count.
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
even have a
I'm
Yeah,
panic
looking
that's
at
also
the
fair. That's also fair.
I'm looking at the mathematical statistics of shit likely to happen to us that makes it harder to win down the line. Because now we could get really, really lucky and then everybody stays healthy and we have a happy, good old time. That is a possibility, but it's baseball, and for some reason, people get hurt when it's a non-contact
I want to
sport.
see what are the baseball play what are the playoff odds right now for the Mariners to make the playoffs? You think?
I don't know. I don't care.
But at
Well,
the
like
same
Kevin
time,
said, playoffs. What
Playoff
do you think?
percentage, what right now maybe well they were pretty high going into the season, so I imagine it's
Yeah,
not super low.
it's
but
dipped a second low.
we want to give ourselves
What is
as
it like
much cushion as possible
30? 30%?
because
What is it?
30% to make the playoffs.
Yeah, what is
We're
it?
30% to clinch it by. It's 70% to make the playoffs right now.
Oh wow, man, that was way low. Okay.
That's because the AL West is garbage. Like there's two teams above 500. Like you know what I mean? Like man, the American oh gosh,
The
yeah
American League is pretty bad.
yeah they're pretty
It's
bad across
well,
the
there's
board.
like two teams in each division that are over 500. The rest are
The only team that's
500 or
dropped
lower.
lower playoff more percentage of playoff odds is the Red Sox this year.
but as we know, as Sean will contest, that's not going to continue to happen.
I
Like,
Yeah.
mean, teams will
Yeah.
separate themselves, but right now it's just
that's
a giant
why,
cluster, and
yeah, that's
we'll see
why,
what
like
happens.
right now, you could argue it's more important that we need to start winning more now.
Well, you could definitely argue today is because I mean the team that you're 2.5 back of is you're playing right now. Like you're directly playing them. You can lower
In
this down. You could
county.
be a half game
Yeah.
out of first place by the end of the series if you
I
went out.
think what we need to do is break another Ichiro statue, and then we'll just
That's
get the
true.
the
That
ball
did help.
going again,
Yeah.
and
That did
then
help a lot.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the automated balls and strikes. Want to get your guys' opinions on this. So this is an article that was updated today. Nice. So looking at the Mariners percentages, Sean I think mentioned this on our first podcast, but they have been not great. Actually, it looks like they've gotten better
They've
since our
gotten much
last
better. Yeah. Since
podcast.
since the
They
first time
are
they were awful.
yeah. So it looks like they are sitting at 14th, 54% challenge success rate. So, Sean, you were the one who kind of was talking about this. So, what have you thought of the Mariners' use of it, and how have you liked it overall?
It has gotten very way better. That's been great to see. Because like I think again the frustrating part about it is early in the season, especially that Yankee series. The Yankees won a game, if at least one, if not two, because they knew how to challenge. They knew how to work the challenge system, and I was like, why are we so far behind the Yankees when clearly, like it's like challenges in football. You don't keep them, use them. You got two of them. There's clearly more than two missed calls in a game. Like, give it a shot. Like, especially in the eighth inning, Cal had an opportunity to get on base, and he was just like, nah. And I'm like, you have two challenges in the bottom of the eighth. This is the time to use it, my guy. Like, and he just did. And so that was like, again, that kind of leads to the first point of like, it was frustrating because we weren't up to speed on the challenge system. I don't know how. You had an entire offseason. You had teams have been doing this in the minors for a long time. The Mariners organization has been doing this in the minors the whole time. Like, did we just not care about it? Like, so it felt like we're unprepared in that regard. But like, we've gotten so much better at it. I think this system, again, we've talked about it before on the podcast. I think you could, if you want to give more challenges, less challenges, whatever you want to tweak, I feel like this is the best of both worlds, to quote Hannah Montana. You get some correct calls and important things if you got your things, but also still gives the catcher's ability to steal strikes because it is a skill that should be rewarded by the catcher because it's a skillful thing to do. We have clear measures of that. It's part of the game. So like stealing that strike, it allows them to do both. So like Mitch Garver just stole a strike right now, like literally as we're talking. So I'm like, I think it's the really good what we got right now. Again, you could argue you should have four challenges or whatever it is. I think it's working pretty well right now. So I like the ABS system. It doesn't take very long. It doesn't take away from the game. So I think it's fine.
Leading the way for batters is Teoscar Hernandez, 4 for 400%, and then there's quite a few guys who are like 5 for 6, 4 for 5 up there in percentage. In terms of pitcher, George Kirby is 1 for 2, and then there's a bunch of pitchers at 1 for 1, and then catcher wise, Mitch Garver is 6 for 6 as catcher with ABS right now, so he's leading the way because he has more than PJ Higgins, who's 4 for 4. Kevin, what have you thought of the ABS system and the Mariners' use of it?
Like as Sean kind of mentioned, it's better. I'll just touch on it real quick as a whole. Like I mean, it's such a blessing, especially since how terrible umps are.
Can I say this? When I said that, oh my gosh, wow! When you were talking earlier, Kevin, you and Matt were talking. I don't know who the home plate umpire. It might be Buckner missed a ball for the Athletics by 3 inches. It wasn't even close. They reviewed it and it was like 2.9 inches off the plate. I was like, wow. And it was a call against us, but I was like, Yeah, I'd be really upset if I was an Oakland A's player and that ball was called a strike.
Mhm.
So I'm glad, like for those calls, I'm so glad it's like, and you don't lose a challenge for that. I'm so glad for that.
There are accounts on, I think it's Instagram and
Yeah,
Twitter,
that
that
MLB. Yeah,
essentially keep track of
yeah.
ump errors, and it's high.
Well, it's on ESPN as well, and
Yeah,
they've got percentages of how
like
many challenges and how many are, yeah.
it's
So
crazy. Well, they just will show how many they will like. They will show all the missed calls of a game, essentially by the ump, and it's
Well,
insane.
I want to be very clear here though. Like, zero point 0.1 inches is human eye, a ball rotating 2,000 mile
Yeah,
RPMs. It's that there's a difference between zero point 0.1 inches and 3 inches. So I want to be very clear about that though.
right.
Like, yeah, so they're both technically missed calls, but like it is important to say what the missed call is, like how far off you are.
I also do like the strategery too of like I've seen catchers like frame stuff purposely to try to get the batter to challenge.
Yes, yes, that actually
Um,
adds to more.
which has
Yeah,
been
so it's
very
really nice.
interesting
Yeah,
and awesome to see. And then double challenges too, of both catcher and
I I also really like when the people are really confident and they start walking to first.
mhm.
If they're right or wrong, I'm just like, ooh, either way. Like I'm just like, either way, the ump's gonna be shown up or the batter's gonna be really embarrassed. But I really like when there's someone's like
I think
challenge and I start walking to first.
there was one where Randy started walking
Yeah,
to
but
first,
he was
and
right. I
he was
remember he was
right.
right. Yeah, but I've
Um,
seen one in
yeah,
Boston where he was wrong and had to walk all the way back, and the bat wasn't over either. And so I was like, oh gosh, and now you got to step behind the plate, and you've wasted a challenge. So you're definitely your teammate's not gonna. If I'm the pitcher and I know that, trying to throw something really close but on a ball, and the ump's gonna give it to you at that point. If he shows up if the batter shows up the plate before, and he's not gonna challenge two in a row. So you're like, I'm gonna get this call. I'm gonna throw a little off the plate. I'm gonna get the call because the ump's gonna be mad at the batter. So
There was one where like the catcher challenged that it was a strike instead of a ball because the player was going to walk onto base, but then the batter, I think the coach actually of the other team challenged that it was catcher's interference.
oh
And
yes, yes,
and
yes.
so they back to back challenged it, and then they're like after review, yeah, it was catcher's interference, so they're going to take their base.
Yeah. So they got the strike, but then they got the first base anyways. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so it has been a nice blessing to see, and we should have
They're
done.
really quick challenges too. It's not like the NFL. Because again,
Yeah,
why does the NFL take so long? You could have someone up in the booth be like, okay, I can see from New York, it's blah blah blah. Just do it. Do the thing.
well,
Like,
I'll jump in here. I have enjoyed it and I like it because one, it's immediate, like you said. Like
yeah,
someone challenges it, they look up at the big board, everyone looks at it, and it's
yeah,
known immediately. I I think it does show how much, this is for every sport as well, but how much baseball can be a game of inches. Like you have
yeah,
to be certain, I feel like if you're a batter to challenge it. And sometimes it could be just like they're frustrated that they struck out
yeah,
looking and
yeah.
it's like catches the strike zone by like this much, but they're out. So I like how it has definitely helped clarify some things for when pitches are clearly a ball or clearly a strike and they challenge and they're right. I am a little more curious to see how teams get used to it, and as the season gets close to the end, like are they going to be saving them for the bigger moments when it comes down to it in the eighth or ninth inning? Like, because I've seen some challenges in the first or second inning, and you burn a challenge early, and then you've only got one left. So you got to be real sure if you're going to use that second challenge because you burn two and you come down to the ninth and you don't have any. That could be an issue. So,
I
I
also, Matt, like how
yeah
you have to use it quickly, aka NHL offsides. You should be
yeah.
using it quickly, not 3 minutes later when the goal is scored. You should be forced to use it quickly, like not like have a chance to review and call. I think the big one is not from the side. The batter or the people involved in the play have to do it. The ones in the NHL, you can do it that way, but you should have to do it within 15 seconds. You can only get a like score a goal a minute later, and then it's
Well,
boom.
it's
It's
tough for the NHL because it's so much more fluid than baseball, where it like
but again,
stops after the pitch. But I see what you're
if
saying. Yeah.
if like the point, and I get with the off the base thing too. Like I feel like most challenges in baseball, like the idea of a tag off on a slide, like Randy did this the other day, is like not for an shout out to Ben Lindbergh of Fangraphs who agrees with me on this one. When you slide into a base and your foot gets and you hit the base and your foot pops off for a millisecond, but the guy's still applying the tag and you're out. That's not the reason of the rule. It's more of like Randy the other day when he slid and then overslid the bag and his hand was off, and then the guy's like, "I touch you." That's more the point of the rule. So I feel like anything like that, it should be an instant. It had to be an instant challenge too. I feel like most challenges would be better if they were instant challenges. Like do you know for sure that that's not a yes or a no? Because like again, yeah, we could slow it down to the fraction of the human eye and everything like that, but that's kind of and that those are the ones that take forever. No, that defeats the purpose of like, okay, is it a challenge? Can I see if this was safe or not or whatever it is? It's like, okay, like what are we even doing here at this point? Like this isn't sport anymore. It's like if you didn't see it and you didn't think it was an out or safe, then why are you challenging it now? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's always that factor of, oh, what does the team upstairs think? They had the video immediately. What are they thinking?
and we gotta wait. They
Yeah.
always wait. Like, what did they say? Yes or no? And so by the time you challenges, you're over to like, okay, well, it's gonna get overturned because they freaking challenged it. Like, no, you should on the field, kind of like this. The second baseman should be like, he's off the bag. I challenge,
And
and
while
that's
I,
it.
I generally agree with you, the games have gotten a lot faster with the pitch clock, so I don't mind that little extra time so much
I,
since
I, I
games
think
are
all
much
challenges
faster.
should be on the field in the moment. You think it is? You think it is? Go for it. But like, I think they should all be banked. Like, again, not like three. You have 3 seconds. Let's start the timer. But like, within reasonable. Like, you got 5 or 10 seconds or whatever it is. Like a bat, like a ball. You shouldn't be like, let's go upstairs and like, what are the guys upstairs with the instant play plays and the zooms in and the did he his foot leave the bag for half a millisecond, like, and you were touching him. Like, no, that's defeats. That's not really the point of the play. Like, so I really like that they have to challenge in the moment. So that's what I like about ABS as well. Like, it's a quick thing and they have to know, and
All
they get
right,
wrong, so that's fine. They're
we
human.
will take a quick break. We'll be right back. Washington, East to West Sports.